Kansas. We're just north of Sweetwater. We had Sweetwater in about 10 more miles or so. I've been doing these videos about different kind of trucking jobs. I've been calling them like 101, Trucking 101. So we first did, what was the first thing we did? Forgot. Oh, Produce 101. Then I did Flatbed 101. And today I think we're doing Meat 101. Different kinds of meat loads, like your beef and your, I don't know a lot about the chickens and stuff, but your large animal meat, like cattle and pig and sheep, whatnot. They're all pretty close to the same as far as the process, just a different animal is all. Alright, well, back when I first started driving, they were switching over from what they called swinging meat over to what they called box meat. Swinging meat was where they would have the slaughterhouse out in the Midwest somewhere, be packing houses. And what they would do is they'd kill the animal and they'd skin it and gut it, and you'd have a half a side of beef or a half a side of pork or sheep or whatever animal. You remember Rocky, the movie Rocky Balboa, you know, they're out there, he's jogging, and he goes into the meat packing place and he's punching the sides of beef like a punching bag. That's the way they used to do it. They used to hang it on these hooks, there was tracks in the ceiling, and hung them up on the hooks, and that's how they shipped them. They would cut the animal down to a half side of beef, and they'd put them in trailers that were called swinging meat trailers, and they had racks on the roof and had these little wheels and little pulley type things, and this big S-hook. And you ever wonder where the football team, the Green Bay Packers, they get their name from that kind of process, packing beef, okay? Because there was a huge slaughterhouse. I think there's still one. I think it's still up there. Several of them, I'm sure. But Green Bay was a really large packing plant because it's right on the ocean, or the Great Lakes. And Wisconsin's known for what? Cheese. Lots of cheese. Cheese comes from milk. Milk comes from cows. Milk comes from girl cows. Boy cows don't make milk. Just for you city slickers that don't know that. Anyway, boy cows really don't have a purpose in life other than to grow up and become meat, right? So when a cow gives birth to a calf, the female calves, the heifers, they grow up to be cows and produce milk. The male cows, which are called calves or later steers or bulls, little bull calf. The little bull calf will grow up to be either a bull, or if they castrate it, it turns into a steer. And then the steer grows up, gets nice and big and beefy and meaty, but it doesn't have the ornery tendencies of a bull. Okay, so they're easier to handle and take care of. So anyway, we would take these milk cows, the boy milk cows, the steers, and they would slaughter them. There was a bunch of them up in Wisconsin, so they put a packing plant up there. And to ship it out, instead of putting it on a train or whatever, right there's the water, put them on a boat and ship them to places like New York, okay, all the major cities back east. So that's why Green Bay is what it is and where it's at. Meat packing. You go out in the Midwest, in Kansas especially, Kansas and Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle, there's a lot of beef production out there, feedlots and whatnot. Well, why would you have feedlots right here and then ship the cow all the way to Washington State or all the way to Maine? Just right down the road, put a slaughterhouse. So a lot of slaughterhouses are in Kansas because it's kind of centrally located for all the beef producing states. There's a big packing plant up in Colorado. There's I'm sure every state has, not every state, but most of the Midwest states have one of some type. But the really, really big ones are in Kansas. So anyway, anyway, you'd have these cattle get slaughtered, and they would cut them into halves and put them on a meat hook and roll them into these trailers that were designed to haul swinging meat. And that's how you hauled it down the road. And when you go around a corner, the meat would sway, and when you go around a curve, and it was real top heavy, because all the weight was at the top of the trailer. It was all hanging here, but it was pendulumed from the top of the trailer. So when you go around a corner, it would sway this way, while the whole trailer's center of balance would go like that. And you had a lot of wrecks that way. I hauled one load of swinging meat before it went out of style, and I hauled it from Iowa up to Minnesota somewhere. And I remember that first curve I went around, and I've been told, be careful, be careful, be careful. Oh yeah, oh, be careful. Whoa! I mean, it takes you by surprise. I mean, I didn't wreck, of course, but man, that feeling in the seat of your pants, boy, you think, oh my gosh, I'm going too fast, and you really learn real quick to respect swinging meat. Kind of like hauling tankers and stuff with sloshing fluids. You respect those loads, because they can flip you over pretty quick. So anyway, they got away from the swinging meat, because it used to be they'd cut the carcass down to a side of beef, and they would ship it to the bigger cities, and the cities would distribute it to the grocery stores, and the grocery store would actually chop it up and make roasts and steaks and ribs and hamburger. Okay, back when I grew up, the local grocery stores had butchers in the grocery. You don't see that at most grocery stores anymore. If they do, they've got one guy in there, here's a ham, and he'll slice it up for you or something, and that's about all they do. Used to be they actually had a side of beef, and they cut it all down, and you'd go to this grocery store because they made T-bones a little bit different. They cut them a little thicker, or maybe you wanted them thinner, so you go to that grocery store. And that was a big calling card for the grocery stores, is our butchers. Our butchers really know what they're doing, and they'll do exactly, and it's customer service. You don't get that anymore. Basically, you go down to Wally World and you get what they put, and that stuff wasn't cut there at Wally World. It was cut at a processing plant someplace. So, anyway, they switched over from swinging meat over to what they call box beef, and they would take that same half side of beef, and they put it on a table, kind of like a conveyor belt table, and the first guy, he would say, I'm really good I need to cut this roast off. And he'd get in there with his knife, and he'd cut that piece out. There's the big roast, and he put it in a box. The rest of the carcass goes on down assembly line style, and the next one comes up, and he cuts that one piece out. That's all he does, is that one piece. Big chunks it in a box. After that box is full with however many they decide to put in there, 10 or 20 or 15 or whatever, however many fit in that box, they fold the box up, stack it over there, and get another box, you cut out another one and start over. And that's the assembly line process for disassembling a cow. So now they started doing this box method. Well, the shipping became different. Instead of having swinging meat, you had box beef, and you just put it in a reefer like what I used to do. And I hauled quite a bit of this stuff over the years. And you have these boxes of, let's say, a whole box of ribs. Well, they put, this whole pallet is nothing but ribs. This whole pallet is nothing but rump roast. This whole pallet is nothing but steaks. This whole pallet is nothing but hamburger. You get the idea. So, I'm going to get to hamburger in a minute. So anyway, let's see, where are we at here? Some of the old, I found an old picture. This is the old Swift plant downtown Fort Worth by the stockyards. This is in its heyday. If you ever go to Fort Worth, you run down to the stockyards. It's real neat. It's touristy now and everything. But it used to be a huge slaughter, livestock industry. Where the stockyards are, that's why they were there, is for cattle. And of course, the Exchange Boulevard goes up, east and west through there. There was all kinds of bars and there's hotels and bars and all kinds of places for the cowboys to go hang out and have fun. It's a whole other part of that. So anyway, I just happened to find, while I was looking for pictures to research for this video, I happened to come across that. It brought back memories. I thought, oh yeah, I got to tell about that. All right, so we got the cows all cut down into boxes and they're shipped out. Now, this box beef now will still go to some grocery stores. They'll order it as box beef, and they'll have a butcher in there that cuts a 3/8 inch or a 3/4 inch steak or a 1 inch steak or a 1/2 inch steak. There's some grocery stores that still do that kind of stuff, but not many. Most of them, the stuff is processed. Oh, I'm about ready to lose my camera. So much of this stuff nowadays is all processed. When you buy a steak, and it's the styrofoam tray and the shrink wrap around it, that usually wasn't done at the grocery store anymore. That's usually done at some kind of a processing plant somewhere. Most of it's all done before it ever got to the grocery store. So it's changed a lot. Not for the best, better, not for the worse. It's more cost effective for them, I think. So that's why it's all changed. In a way, I'm kind of glad they don't do the swinging beef anymore, because it's so much safer to have it in a box. It's the center of gravity's on the floor now instead of the ceiling. So, anyway, let's see where we are here. Let me talk about hamburger real quick. When I first started my business up back in 08, I started to run out to, I was going out to California all the time, and the customer that I hauled for, I'd make several pickups around the Dallas-Fort Worth area and take it out to LA. When I got to LA, I'd have a little bit of extra space on the trailer, so they'd have me pick up 1 or 2 pallets of beef, hamburger meat, hamburger patties and stuff, and I'd put the rest of it on the truck. Now I'm finally completely loaded, and I'd go down to a warehouse down by the ocean and unload it, and they'd put it on a shipping container and ship it overseas. Okay, so that was one of the things. One of the customers I went to, one of the warehouses or cold storage processing plant that I went to out in LA, and right downtown LA. And I don't know if anybody of y'all remember, this is, like I said, 8 or 9 years ago, but do you remember pink slime? There was a big thing in the news. Oh my gosh, the world's going to end because they're using pink slime. It was an additive they were putting into hamburger, and people saw it and, oh my gosh, it's terrible. This is what pink slime looks like. Any guess what that is? Pink slime is basically sawdust. You have your big chunk of meat, and you got it on a table, and you've got this bandsaw, and you're cutting the meat with a saw. Just like in wood, you cut wood, what do? You get some sawdust. And sawdust falls on the floor as you cut your wood. Well, when you cut meat, you get the same thing. You get sawdust. It's saw paste, okay, because it's meat, it's wet. Well, it's sitting there, it's perfectly good meat. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just pulverized because it's cut in such little bitty pieces. You talk about the ultimate hamburger, what this stuff is. And they would cut that all up, and they're sitting there over. You cut that over days and months and years. There's a lot of meat that just gets thrown away. So what do you do with it? Well, have you ever noticed when you go to the fast food joints? I won't name any names. We all know the major stores. But have you ever noticed when you're at home and you make a hamburger patty and put it on a grill, it looks so much different than the hamburger patty that comes out at your fast food chain? The reason is pink slime. What? It's a bonding agent. All it is really fine hamburger is all it is. But they would mix it in with ground hamburger and this pink slime and put it together, and it would bond and stay in that hockey puck shape a lot better. Because when you take your regular hamburger and squeeze it out into a patty, and when you cook it, it cracks and kind of crumbles apart and everything, there's no bonding agent in it. Okay, there's pieces of meat and it breaks apart. If you had pink slime mixed in there, that would bond that together, and your patty would look a lot more like the fast food joint. So there's nothing wrong with it. They come up with the word pink slime because that's what it looks like. The workers at the factory called it pink slime. It was just a slang. It's just like any other business you have. You've got some kind of slang for what you do. Okay. And in that business, they had this stuff, and there's no real word or name for it. So the workers just go, yeah, no, slime. They pick that slime up, and we mix it back in with a hamburger, okay? And the different stores, the different fast food joints had recipes, exactly how much fat, exactly how much meat, and how much slime to make that perfect patty, what they think is a perfect patty. Somewhere along the line, a reporter heard this and go, they're putting what in hamburger? Oh, that's terrible. It's pink slime. Oh my God, we can't put pink slime in hamburger, it'll kill everybody. And they wrote a story about it. And this reporter put this story out in the LA Times, and it went viral nationwide. Everybody heard about it. It became a big scandal. It became a big scandal. And so anyway, there was nothing wrong with it, and that one reporter ended up, that factory, all of a sudden, they're on such tight margins that nobody ordered from them for a little while, and it hurt their business so bad they actually went belly up. So this place that I was going to, picking up 1 or 2 pallets a week, picking up some hamburgers that was getting shipped overseas, okay, so to Hawaii, that business got put out of business because nobody, the customers, which is not the people at the grocery store, but the fast food chains, they didn't want to be associated with pink slime. Well, you're the ones that told us to put it in there. So anyway, this reporter, because of irresponsible reporting, because there's nothing wrong with pink slime, it doesn't look good, but it's all it is does hamburger look like a choice sirloin steak? No, it looks different. It's still meat, okay, and we still eat it. Pink slime is just the next level of ground up, okay? So anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there. Sometimes reporters do more harm than good, because that plant closed down and all those people lost their jobs. Now I'm sure they, it's LA, they went somewhere else and found another job, but it was back in 09. What happened in 09? Everybody was losing their jobs. So these people lost their perfectly good job and went to find another, and there's no jobs available because the recession that went on at that time. So thank you, Mr. Reporter, whoever you were. Thank you. You really screwed some people up there. So that's just me ranting about little thing here, but it's just when we're talking about meat process, there's a lot of stuff in meat processing that you look at and go, ooh, I don't know if I'd do it that way. If you knew how they made potato chips, you wouldn't eat potato chips. Yeah, it's food processing. It's not quite what you would think. If you really saw behind the doors, you'd be surprised. That's one of the reasons I don't eat hot dogs. I've seen what they put in hot dogs and bologna. Bologna's all it is bigger hot dog sliced. That's all it is. And I've seen what they put in it. Not for me. I'll pass. Now, I know it won't kill me or anything, and if I was sitting there and I was really, really hungry, I'd eat a hot dog. But if I got a choice between a hot dog and a hamburger, I'd eat the hamburger. If I got a choice between a hamburger and a steak, I'd eat the steak. Okay? So, and no vegetarian here, as you can tell. I like my food. Anyway, I think I went on long enough about this, so we'll holler at you later, and I hope you learned something. Learn something every day, you become a better person. Ciao.